Hello and welcome to the first of many Moundville Memories. I'm Bob Sharp. Today, the school lunchroom. In the 60s and 70s, and even before that, the school lunchroom was down in the basement. You had to go all the way down to where Mr. White's class was, and across from that was the biology chemistry lab. So you went down the flight of stairs, and there it was, the school lunchroom. It was next to the kindergarten room, and when we were little tykes, I remember Miss Elsie would bring us into the lunchroom, and the trays were brought to us. But by the time we got to first grade, we were being taught how to pick them up and take them to our tables, eat, and then take them back. Some people were better at this than others. Jane Austen was very good. She was a fast learner, and she was one of the first ones to show everyone how it was to be done. She was very proud, and her teacher was very proud of her. That was Miss Marlar, her first grade teacher. Miss Marlar would get very worried that some of her students might drop the trays as they were taking them back to the window so the trays could be washed and the kids could go back to the classroom. One day, Jane Austen, again, was talking in line, and Miss Marlar just didn't like that, and she went over and shook Jane. Jane was holding her tray that still had some English peas on it, and those peas went all over the floor. I think Miss Marlar cried when that happened. Now, I had Miss Coley as my first grade teacher, and she just didn't mess around. You'll be hearing a lot about her on these programs. But one time in particular, I remember that we had chicken fried steak, and I don't know what they did to it. I didn't want to eat it, but she told us we had to eat it or else, so we did. I just remember that when you would take the fork and put a little pressure on this country fried steak, this clear liquid came out of it. It was like it was oil, but it was just very strange and really just sickening, and that's exactly what happened. I got sick. I don't know if it was the country fried steak. I just kind of think maybe it was, but whatever it was, I just no longer ate that lunchroom food. My mom prepared for me lunches. That's right. She made fried chicken, and she would sometimes fry up some hamburger patties and enclose a nice little container of Heinz 57 steak sauce. I had iced tea in my thermos. I felt so rich, extremely rich. The lunchroom was a very loud place. There was no getting it quiet. It was the kind of place where kids were going to make noise no matter what. I remember one year around Christmas time, we saw this big hi-fi stereo system had been brought down into the lunchroom, and sure enough, during lunchtime, they actually tried playing Christmas carols for us to listen to. I don't think anyone heard them. We weren't going to quiet down for anything. Now, by the time I got to 7th grade, I felt like it really wasn't cool for me to be bringing my lunch anymore in one of those Lost in Space lunch boxes. So I decided I would start eating in the lunchroom again. And I think maybe stuff had improved a little bit. The beef stew was not too bad. And on Fridays we had chili. And I have to tell you, that chili was good. I really was impressed with it. And another thing that was really good on Fridays was the chocolate peanut butter oatmeal candy. I remember one time I traded everything else off of my plate, and I had nothing but a plate or a tray of that candy. And was I hyper the rest of the day. They must have had a surplus of peanut butter. I remember Coy Mills, who later became the principal there, said one day he was so excited because he got down to the cafeteria and there was chocolate cake, and he was so excited. But guess what? It had peanut butter icing. That doesn't sound so bad to me, but he wasn't too wild about it. Now, the ladies that worked there in the lunchroom were very nice, very busy, and sometimes they would drop stacks of trays. And I remember one time seeing that happen, and Mr. White jumped when it happened because it was totally unexpected. And it appeared to me that he swallowed all of his English peas in one gulp. He didn't look too happy. I always thought the food in the lunchroom was just kind of strange. Some of it was like stuff you'd never, ever, ever have at home. You'd never heard of before. But then the day came when they finally tried fried chicken. And let me tell you, you could smell it all over the school. But it wasn't that good fried chicken smell, like when your mom prepared fried chicken when you were a kid. No, this was kind of strange. And I remember Miss Marie Abernathy telling us, and this was in 7th grade, we had her for study hall, and she told us, she said, in case you're wondering what that smell is, they are frying chicken in the lunchroom. Well, that's what it was, and I guess they could have done worse. It wasn't the absolute worst. But I'll tell you what was the absolute worst. They would fry bologna and then put a scoop of mashed potatoes in the middle. I mean, it was just bizarre looking. It looked kind of like a nipple or something. I just couldn't stomach that one. I always wondered as a kid, where did they get this food? Where did they come up with these weird ideas? And then at last, there was a revelation. My mom was driving us back from Moundville Mercantile, and we passed by Davis Super Saver. You remember that store? I think it's a church thrift store now, but it was a red brick building, and a nice little grocery store. Of course, we didn't shop there. We shopped at 5 Points. But anyway, I saw one of those cafeteria ladies getting out of her car, and she was still in her uniform, and she was going inside Davis Super Saver. That was it. That's where they must have gotten all of that awful food, I thought. I made my mom promise never, ever to shop at Davis Super Saver.